Okay, sorry.
So, Sanjana, you had repeatedly mentioned the word organized preparation. Now, can we explore that theme in some more detail? What is organized preparation? How does one go about it? And I think another idea that we've discussed always is that the civil service examination is not an examination of IQ, more of not as much an examination of IQ as it is about having organized preparation. So, how do you respond to that?
It's true, sir. I think there are many candidates who are very intelligent, but they somehow fall short of doing what is necessary for the exam. So that's a reason because that's important because one cannot take IQ granted as granted for getting a rank. So what is really needed is organized, disciplined preparation. And by what do we mean by an organized preparation? Is that to have all the topics in the syllabus covered, have detailed notes for them, notes in a form which are 100 or 150 or 250 words long. These notes are crisp, they have keywords, they have examples, they have the diagrams that you will draw in the examination. And these topics are very much relevant for the exam, not some fringe topics. And before doing these set of notes, whatever we mentioned earlier, one has to go through topper scripts repeatedly to understand the way to make notes, to the way to write answers. One needs to go through previous year question papers to understand what are the important topics relevant for the exam, which topics one shouldn't miss, what are the micro topics that one can use when questions are being asked on subtopics or topics. So, this is what I call organized preparation. So, first, understanding the demand of the question from previous year questions. Second, referring to topper scripts to understand how to write and present answers. Third, referring limited sources and making very crisp notes. So, on coming to the third topic, which I consider to be the most important from 1 to 3, how does one identify good sources and how does one make notes? So, we followed, as I gathered from you, a strategy called Triple R or RRR. That is, when you read a source, you should keep in mind that from this source you will be able to make notes, that you will be able to write notes. You will be able to revise it and then you will be able to reproduce it. So, reading, writing in the exam, and reproducing it and revising it. So, when you read something, you have to keep these things in mind and approach it. If you find a notes too bulky, out of which you cannot make notes, then there's no point of reading it. If you find the notes too precise, too concise, where you're not able to produce keywords, then there's no point of reading it. So read something in such a way that you can make notes out of it, revise it, and reproduce it in the given question.
I think that's again a very valuable insight. Hopefully, it helps those who are preparing for mains with a lot of energy. So, the key takeaway I think is that what you said is very true. There are many young students that we guide in the mentorship, and a lot of them are extraordinarily intelligent. In fact, some come from very prestigious educational backgrounds like the IITs or IIMs. Some are those who have done medicine MBBS from very good colleges and who've had a good academic track record all through.
Yes.
But very surprisingly, and also very it's a harsh reality that some of them fail to make it to the list. So I keep telling my students at the same point that the civil service examination, unlike the other competitive examinations like JEE or NEET, is not a test of IQ as much as is a test of one's organized preparation. So I think the exam calls for reading a lot, covering vast syllabus at a broad level with no mastery over any of them, and having the ability to reproduce any topic from that vast area in a limited context, in limited time and limited word limit, and convey its essence. So that can only be done when one has thorough notes. So I think notes, as you said, the key point that worked, I think, for Sanjana madam is the vast notes that she has compiled. And having notes is very important because a notes is not another material. A notes is what you make to quickly revise before the examination. The idea must be that you should be able to finish one GS paper or any one paper of optional in about 3 to 3.5 hours of revision.
That's right.
So your notes helps you revise multiple times. So let's work backwards. You must write a lot in a very limited time in the exam. That's possible only when you remember a lot. You will remember a lot only when you revise a lot. You will revise a lot only when you have very good notes. So work backwards, and the whole thing starts with effective note making, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And I
Definitely.
think some of the students in the mentorship, we shared some of Sanjana ma'am's notes in the mentorship course group. And some students who saw that notes have been very impressed. I must convey their regards to you. They come and tell me that, sir, this is extraordinary notes. We feel that there is not a single word in the notes that is useless. Every word, every point in the notes carries weight, and none of it is written just to fill space. So they look at these notes as highly refined and very effective notes. And they say that now we understand why Sanjana ma'am got such good scores. So I think I can convey a lot of my mentorship students' regards to you in this context.
Thank you, sir. But I think appreciation in my case should be shared by both of us. So my notes initially was very bulky and of very low utility, but it is over iterations that I improved it. So note making is also about doing it in many iterations. So one has to sit patiently and revise their notes, try to understand what fits in, what doesn't, eliminate what doesn't, add what fits in, and do it repeatedly. So I think here I'm very lucky to have your guidance, and most of my notes are what I borrowed from your notes. So I think if it's someone who should share their appreciation, it should be you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.